Have you ever pondered over the relationship between the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank? Two monumental institutions established in the mid-20th century, their names frequently echo in the corridors of world economics. The International Monetary Fund, or as it's more commonly known, the IMF, was born out of a conference in Bretton Woods, New Hampshire in the summer of 1944. A gathering of 44 countries with a shared vision to construct a framework for economic cooperation to avoid a repetition of the destructive economic policies that contributed to the Great Depression. The IMF's primary purpose is to ensure the stability of the international monetary system, the system of exchange rates and international payments that enables countries to transact with each other. In the same breath, another institution was created, the World Bank. Its initial objective was to finance the reconstruction of war-torn Europe through the provision of loans, a purpose that has since evolved. Today, the World Bank's mission is to end extreme poverty and to promote shared prosperity. It provides funds, expertise and coordination among other countries to help developing nations implement their development projects, like schools, health centres and infrastructure, in a bid to improve their economic prospects and quality of life. While distinct in their roles, the IMF and World Bank are two sides of the same coin, both seeking to foster global monetary cooperation, secure financial stability, facilitate international trade, promote high employment and sustainable economic growth, and reduce poverty around the world. Together, they form part of the United Nations system and share the same goal of raising living standards in their member countries. Their methods of achieving this goal are complementary, with the IMF focusing on macroeconomic issues and the World Bank concentrating on long-term economic development and poverty reduction. Now that we have an understanding of the IMF and World Bank, let's delve into their relationship. The IMF and World Bank, though distinct entities, have a symbiotic relationship. Their bond was forged in the aftermath of World War II, during the Bretton Woods Conference, where global leaders sought to create a more stable and prosperous world. The International Monetary Fund, or IMF, and the World Bank emerged as twin intergovernmental pillars supporting this new economic order. While the IMF focuses on macroeconomic issues, such as exchange rates and fiscal policies, the World Bank is concerned with long-term economic development and poverty reduction. Their roles are complementary, with the IMF providing a safety net during economic crises and the World Bank supporting structural transformations. Over the years, there have been many points of synergy and collaboration between these two institutions. One of the most prominent examples is the Heavily Indebted Poor Countries (HIPC) initiative, launched in the late 90s. This joint endeavour provided debt relief to the world's poorest nations, allowing them to invest more in health, education, and poverty reduction. Another significant collaboration is their joint economic stabilisation programmes. These initiatives help countries facing severe economic distress to restore fiscal stability, rekindle economic growth, and implement needed reforms. These programs often involve the IMF providing immediate financial assistance to stabilize the economy, followed by the World Bank offering development aid to promote sustainable growth. However, it's worth noting that their relationship is not without criticism. Some argue that their policies often favor creditors and can lead to austerity measures that disproportionately affect the poor. Yet these criticisms have led to reforms and a greater emphasis on social safety nets and poverty reduction in their programs. In the grand scheme, the IMF and World Bank's relationship is a testament to the power of global cooperation. Their united front has been vital in dealing with economic crises, aiding poverty-stricken countries, and promoting sustainable economic growth. Their collaboration has indeed made significant strides in world development. The IMF and World Bank don't work in isolation. They indeed form strategic alliances with a variety of organizations to expand their reach and impact. These partnerships are crucial in aligning global efforts towards fostering economic stability and sustainable development. One of the key partners is the United Nations. The IMF and World Bank work closely with various UN agencies to address global challenges. Their collaboration ranges from health and education to climate change and poverty reduction. Together, they strive to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals, a blueprint for a better and more sustainable future for all. The World Trade Organization is another vital collaborator. Recognizing the importance of trade in economic development, the IMF and World Bank often work with the WTO to promote fair and open global trade. They provide technical assistance, policy advice, and financial support to help countries integrate into the global trading system. This partnership enhances economic growth, reduces poverty, and fosters a more inclusive global economy. Regional development banks are another set of significant partners. These banks, including the African Development Bank, Asian Development Bank, and Inter-American Development Bank, focus on specific regions. The IMF and World Bank work with these institutions to address region-specific challenges and opportunities. This collaboration allows them to tailor their efforts to the unique needs and circumstances of different regions, enhancing their effectiveness. Other partnerships include non-governmental organizations, private sector entities, and academic institutions. These alliances help to incorporate diverse perspectives, leverage additional resources, and foster innovation in their work. In short, these partnerships with other organizations are an integral part of the IMF's and World Bank's strategy. They allow these institutions to harness collective efforts and resources to achieve their ambitious goals. They also enable them to navigate the complex and interconnected landscape of global development more effectively. These partnerships enhance their reach and effectiveness in fostering global economic stability. Together, they are making strides towards a world where every individual has the opportunity to live a life of dignity and prosperity. The IMF and World Bank have distinct areas of development that they favour. As twin intergovernmental pillars supporting the structure of the world's economic and financial order, their primary focus areas converge on poverty reduction, financial stability, and economic development. When we talk about poverty reduction, we are referring to the World Bank's fundamental mission. It strives to lift the world's poorest out of their predicament by providing loans and grants for projects and programs that are intended to boost economic growth, reduce inequalities, and improve living conditions. These initiatives range from building infrastructure and improving education and health services to environmental protection and efforts to combat climate change. The IMF, on the other hand, is more geared towards financial stability. Its role is to oversee the international monetary system and monitor the economic and financial developments of its member countries. By providing advice, technical assistance, and financial support when needed, the IMF helps countries to build and maintain strong economies, thereby creating a more stable and prosperous global economy. But it's not just about what they do, it's also about where they do it. While their efforts are indeed global, there's a marked focus on regions that are most in need. Africa, for instance, is a major recipient of World Bank funding, with initiatives aimed at improving access to clean water, education, healthcare, and economic opportunities. Latin America and Asia also receive substantial attention, with projects designed to boost economic development, reduce poverty, and promote sustainable practices. It's important to note that while the IMF and World Bank have these distinct areas of focus, they work in tandem to achieve their shared goals. The World Bank often relies on the IMF's macroeconomic assessments when deciding where to funnel its resources, while the IMF may turn to the World Bank for its expertise in dealing with specific sectors or issues. Their efforts are indeed global, with a focus on the most vulnerable regions. So, what have we learned about the relationship between the IMF and the World Bank? To kick off, we discovered that the IMF, or the International Monetary Fund, and the World Bank are two separate entities, each established in the wake of the Second World War, with distinct yet complementary missions. The IMF's primary goal is to ensure the stability of the international monetary system, while the World Bank is dedicated to reducing poverty by offering loans and giving technical advice to developing nations for development programs. We also explored the unique yet synergistic relationship between these two organizations. They frequently collaborate on country assessments and policies, sharing information and jointly participating in country assistance strategy meetings. This collaboration is crucial to their shared objective of promoting global economic stability and development. Further, we discussed how the IMF and World Bank extend their reach and impact through partnerships with a multitude of other organizations. These include regional development banks, United Nations agencies, and non-governmental organizations. These partnerships amplify their influence and aid in the execution of their respective missions. And of course, we delved into their areas of development focus and regional operations. The World Bank typically invests in sectors like education, health, and infrastructure, while the IMF provides policy advice and capacity development support. They operate globally, but with a particular emphasis on developing regions such as Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, where their efforts can have the most substantial impact on poverty reduction and economic development. In essence, the relationship between the IMF and the World Bank is one of collaboration and complementary action. They're akin to two sides of the same coin, each playing their part in the grand scheme of global economic stability and development. Indeed, the IMF and World Bank, through their collaboration and partnerships, continue to play a pivotal role in fostering global economic stability and development.